Good morning. Welcome to another day of the Party on Bible Study. And I have been waiting for this day since long before we even began, and since the planning stages, when I discovered that there are actual birthday parties that are written into the biblical text, one in the Old Testament and one in the New Testament. There are two birthdays that are specifically called out as being birthday celebrations in the New Testament and in the Old Testament. There may be others, but they're not named as birthday celebrations. So we have two on record, and both of them include problems, which is interesting. I was kind of sad to find that the birthday texts in the Bible, both of them are actually kind of depressing texts, and I'm not sure what to read into that, but I'm thankful that you are here with us this morning so that we can look into those together as we journey through this Party On Bible Study, where we're looking at the parties in the Bible, the good ones, the bad ones, all the ones in between, mostly involving food and festivals and fun. And what we've been discovering is that the heart of God is really one that is about joy and celebration and centered around food and meals and tables, which many times our birthdays are as well. All of this is being brought to you thanks to the generosity and participation of all of those who call Christ's Table Ministry their home. Now, there is a lot that's going on at Christ's Table, and you can find out more by going to the website christtable.today. And coming up here in a couple of months, whenever summer is over and fall and school starts again, we have this whole new thing that we're set to launch there. So to find out all about that, make sure that you go to christtable.today and sign up for the email list. I know I say it every day, but new people are coming along every day. And there are many people who are just a part of just not done it, but please go do it. And if you make a donation, you may do that at the same website. We will send you each month the materials to our monthly donors for free. And if you want them, but you're not able to donate, just go ahead and shoot me a message and I'll make sure that you are a part of that list. Now, today, though, we're going to be in the First Testament in Genesis chapter 40, and we're also going to be in the Second Testament, Mark chapter 6, I believe. So when we come to the first passage, we're jumping into the story of Joseph, who had 12 brothers. They sold him into slavery in Egypt. And so he goes to Egypt, a famine comes, and, brothers come begging for food, but they don't know that it's him. But Joseph is a huge figure in the First Testament and the Old Testament stories. But one of the things that he becomes known for while he's still in incarceration is being able to interpret dreams, which essentially means that he has a very strong relationship with God, that he's able to hear what people are dreaming about, and God is able to teach him as to what that should be interpreted to mean, if anything. And so Joseph gets quite a name in the prison. And so whenever we jump into the story, there are a couple of people who used to work for Pharaoh, but who were imprisoned, his cupbearer and his baker. And one of them has relayed a dream to Joseph, and Joseph has interpreted that dream. And so now the other one is about to relay a dream to Joseph as well. In Genesis chapter 40, verse 16, when the chief baker saw that Joseph had given the first dream, that's of the cupbearer, such a positive interpretation and its outcome, now the chief baker says to Joseph, I had a dream too, and in my dream there were 3 baskets, he's the chief baker, 3 baskets of white pastries stacked on my head. The top basket contained all kinds of pastries for Pharaoh, but the birds came and ate them from the basket on my head. Joseph pauses and says, well, this is what the dream means. 3 baskets represent 3 days. And 3 days from now, Pharaoh's going to lift you up and impale your body on a pole, and the birds will come and peck away at your flesh. And the chief baker has to be like, can I get a different answer for 200, Alex? This is not what I was expecting. You could have just kept it to yourself, Joseph. But I'm sure he convinced himself. It's just a dream. So It's very highly unlikely that Joseph is right in this. Verse 20. Pharaoh's birthday, though, was 3 days away. And here's the first instance of a birthday in the Bible. 3 days later, Pharaoh's birthday, so he prepares a banquet. So apparently, preparing celebrations on one's birthdays has been a thing for, well, a really long time. He prepares a banquet for all of his officials and for his staff. I don't know what you bring as a gift to Pharaoh, but he prepares his birthday celebration. And so he summons the chief cupbearer and the chief baker, both of these individuals who 3 or 4 days earlier have had dreams that Joseph has interpreted, and he invites them to join all of the other officials. He then, and this actually fulfills the dream that Joseph interpreted, he restores the chief cupbearer to his former position so that he could again hand Pharaoh his cup, which probably began to make the chief baker begin to sweat that one came true. But Pharaoh, and the sweating was indeed warranted, impaled the chief baker, just as Joseph had predicted when he interpreted his dream. What an odd thing to do on one's birthday. But long ago, many different customs. And so Joseph comes out of this looking really great. In fact, has an opportunity eventually to interpret Pharaoh's dreams himself. But the chief baker meets his end at Pharaoh's birthday party. More birthdays, more problems. Well, why don't we just go ahead and jump over here into Mark chapter 6 in the New Testament, where we catch up with the story of John the Baptist. Now, John the Baptist was a very polarizing figure. A lot of people didn't like John the Baptist, and one of them was the wife of Herod the Great, Herod, who is the ruling official at this time. And so if you want to know why that is, you can actually read before Mark 6:21, and it'll give you the backstory. But her name, Herod's wife, or one of Herod's wives, was Herodias. And so her chance to finally take care of John the Baptist, who was a thorn in her side specifically, finally came on the second birthday and last birthday that's mentioned in the Bible, when Herod is giving a party for his high government officials, army officers, and the leading citizens of Galilee. So again, this is a party on Herod's birthday, and what does he do? He invites lots of important people to be a part of this celebration, which meant attendance was probably not so much as to whether or not you wanted to be there, but was probably compulsory. So then his daughter, whom the text points out was also named Herodias, so mother's name is Herodias, daughter's name is Herodias, obviously probably a very tight bond between mom and daughter. Mom may have been living in a lot of ways vicariously through the daughter in order to name her after herself and keep the Herod name in the family. A prized child, clearly. So she comes in and she performs a dance that greatly pleased Herod and his guests. And the likelihood is that this dance is, considering the time and the banquet and the pleasure, the word that's used there was probably extremely sexual, probably would be considered rated R, maybe even NC-17. For many people, perhaps would be inappropriate. For others, perhaps normal happenstance. Why go to the club? Bring the club to you. The fact that it's Herod's daughter is odd, but learn a little bit about Herod's family and the way they did things, and you're going to find it was a super odd family. But Herod is so pleased that his guests are so pleased at this and so pleased with her that he says, "Ask me for anything that you like," he says to the girl, "and I will give it to you." Maybe he's a little or highly inebriated. He even vowed, I will give you whatever you ask, up to half my kingdom. What an offer, half of Herod's kingdom to this young girl simply for a dance. Must have been an incredible dance, or they were incredibly drunk, or both. Either way, quite an offer. I would take half the kingdom for 200, Herod. But instead what she does is she goes out and asks her mother, what should I ask for? And her mother tells her, half the kingdom. Ask him for the head of John the Baptist. Completely self-serving for the mother, completely ignoring the daughter. But the girl allows herself to be leveraged by Mama Dearest, comes back to the king and tells him, I want the head of John the Baptist right now on a tray. And the rest of the text actually bears out how that happened, and it did actually happen. And that is how John the Baptist meets his demise. So what are we to get out of these birthday passages? I really have asked myself that question and dug deeply theologically to try to figure out what are we to make that the only two birthday passages in the Bible are such woeful passages. And the first one I would say is never ask your mom what to do. If she hadn't gone and asked mom what to do, then John the Baptist would have still been alive. So the fact that she went and asked for advice from the parental unit, maybe that's the first thing that we can get out of this passage. And I'm mostly kidding, mostly being the operative word, but be careful whom you receive advice from, even if they are family, right? Unless your brother is Jesus, be careful whom you ask advice from. It can be dangerous to you and to other people. The other thing, and I'm only slightly less kidding here, is never make important decisions on your birthday. But I think that there may be something to be said here, is that many of us are drunk on joy, or drunk on alcohol, or drunk on being the center of attention, or drunk on looking like we have life by the horns in front of our friends and our coworkers. And I think many of us perhaps make some of the most detrimental decisions of our lives during seasons of great celebration, which for many of us is the birthday is the high water mark of the self being the center of attention. You know, we might party on other weekends, July 4th, Memorial Days, and Labor Days with grilling out, or Christmas, or Valentine's Day, or these other things. But the birthday is the one where self is the center of all attention. And whenever self is the center of all attention, we can feel more important, more invincible, perhaps, and do things, decide things, say things, commit to things that we might not otherwise, being less inebriated or less the center of attention in our right mind, do. And so I think that there is actually something to be said for this. I don't know if this is the point of why these are here in the Bible, but this is definitely one thing that we can get out of it, I think, for us, is don't make important decisions on your birthday. Certainly don't make life-altering decisions for you on your birthday. Don't do anything dumb, and don't make life-altering decisions for other people on your birthday. And third, and finally, just kind of born out of that is, going back to that passage in Ecclesiastes chapter 3 that says there's a time for everything. There's a time to do things and a time not to do things. There's a rhythm to life. And I do think there is a season for celebrating. And the Bible doesn't say that Pharaoh's birthday was wrong, doesn't say that Herod's birthday was wrong. The fact that these are the only two recorded birthdays that we have on record as being a birthday, being from Pharaoh and from Herod, it would be, I think, reading a little too much into the passage to say that the Bible is saying here that these are wrong. That's the argument from silence. The Bible is silent on that issue. So we're drawing conclusions, and we never want to draw conclusions fully on the basis of silence in the Bible. It's dangerous ground. So I think, that we can say that what the Bible maybe seems to indicate here is that there is a season and a rhythm to things, and there are times to celebrate, and it's okay to celebrate on birthdays. It's okay to have joyful experiences and parties and celebrations in life. Jesus went to a wedding celebration that would have lasted a week, where wine was the central, not only metaphor, but activity at this party. And when it runs out of wine, Jesus actually makes more wine, which certainly they were going to get inebriated on. And he makes the best wine, in fact, it says, better than any of the wine that had been there before. And perhaps I would say the best wine probably that's ever been made on the planet would be the wine that Jesus made. So there is a season and a time where it is acceptable to do these things, but there's also a season and a time for decision making. And maybe when we're supposed to be celebrating and enjoying good food in the company of others and community, may not be the best time in which to make major life-altering decisions. And I think we can leave it at that today. Until tomorrow, though, party on.